Hello everyone, this is POW Ponder on Weather. In this update, we've got a historic blizzard bringing feet of snow. Then we have another snowstorm next week with an Arctic blast. Happy Friday everyone, how's it going? Sorry I'm a little late this morning getting this video out, but I'm super excited because my YouTube plaque came in the mail yesterday, my silver play button, reaching 100,000 subscribers. So man, it was a joy to see, and they gave me a nice letter and this plaque that will hang up on my wall back behind me. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about, and let's delve into the details this morning. First, the first half of this video, we're going to highlight the historic blizzard, and then we'll get to the rest of the country. So right now, we've got plenty of winter weather advisories and numerous winter storm watches and blizzard all along the East Coast here, with an historic event that it looks to be on the table. We've got strong Arctic air plunging south. That is bringing freezing temperatures to Florida, with even as far south as Miami reaching 36 degrees by into Sunday morning. But yeah, this is the coldest temperatures you're going to experience in Florida for many years, upwards to almost 11 years at times. Jacksonville is going to reach 24 degrees. So that is some serious, a hard freeze warning is in place for them. So let's kind of delve into this setup. This is the overall afternoon setup with this storm. We've got a low pressure going to be forming off the southeast coast. It's going to bring some snow showers. That's why they've got those winter weather advisories. Predominantly when those winter weather advisories, anywhere from 1 to 4 inches from this initial setup before it gets its act together. So yeah, we could be seeing some snow flying in southern portions of Ohio, West Virginia, you know, getting into the extreme portions of Virginia here, and starting to snow in portions of PA as we get into Jersey and along New York City. And that's by 3-4 o'clock this afternoon, but it really starts to amplify and getting its act together. Now we're down to a 989 millibar low pressure by the time we get into the evening hours, and it really starts cranking with some heavy snow back towards Virginia Beach. This will start flying in Delmarva, getting up to Jersey here, along the coast here in New York City, going into Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, along the Cape here. But that's just the beginning of things to come as this rapidly starts to really deepen. Now we're down to a 974 millibar low pressure. This is early Saturday morning, right around 9 o'clock in the morning. Those darker purples there, that is some serious heavy snow. The winds are going to be picking up 40, 50, 60 miles per hour at times. And these snowfall rates are really going to start to intensify as this low deepens. I mean, check out the drop. We're talking about a 30 to 40 millibar drop just within a 24-hour period. That, folks, is classified as a bomb cyclone. It really bombs out here off the East Coast with that very heavy snow pounding the I-95 corridor. But yeah, look, as we get into the afternoon hours, I think that's where it hits start to peak intensity as the low pressure tends to slow down, or if not almost stall right around the Cape here. That where it could be some serious convective banding happening on the north side of the deformation zone. That, my friends, could be picking up 3 to 5 inch per hour snowfall rates, and under blizzard conditions of winds are going to be cranking up to 60 miles an hour at times, even higher than that in isolated spots as this continues to rake the coastline. So yeah, here's the setup. Just north of here, this is what they call the deformation zone. This convective banding that could set up along southeastern Massachusetts, pumping in 3 to 5 inch per hour snowfall rates and blinding snow. I mean, whiteout conditions for hours, folks. We're talking typically blizzard. You got to have 35 mile per hour, winds for 3 hours or more, and a quarter-mile visibility. I mean, you could literally have that for almost 9 hours in places in and around the Boston, southeastern Massachusetts. We're talking almost a triple blizzard. I mean, a historic event is potentially on the table with this type setup as this continues to push up. Here's the estimated wind gust as we get into that, Saturday afternoon time frame. Yeah, along the coast here, you're talking New York City, in anywhere of these areas. That's why they have extensive blizzard warnings along the coast into Delaware, going to Jersey, those 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts, 45 mile per hour. But as you get into New York City, yeah, easily cranking over 60 mile per hour wind gust, going into, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, along the Cape here, and definitely as it goes into New Hampshire and then southern Maine here, this whole area is under the gun to experience those higher wind gusts and even up to hurricane force wind gusts at times. And yeah, it's really not until Saturday night that it continues, and we're down to a 966, guys. I mean, we're talking it could potentially bottom out around, anywhere from like the 960 to the 965 range. I'm thinking that's where I think it really starts to bottom out as it continues to move up the coast here. Now, as we get into Saturday night time frame, that snow continues to rake southeastern Massachusetts on the backside, and now it gets into more of a, Vermont, New Hampshire, and then really into Maine now. That's when they're going to be getting the 3 to 5 inch per hour snowfall rate. So yeah, it's essentially from Friday night to Saturday night going into the overnight hours. That's where it's really peak intensity for about 24-hour time frame. I looked at the temperatures around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. I mean, this is heat of the day. I mean, these areas are 20, some areas in the teens. You start getting into New York City, into Long Island, going around here into southern New England here. Now we're talking in the teens, almost the single digits in spots. That's some very Arctic air, and that is an indication that these snowfall rates aren't going to be 10-to-1 ratio. They're going to be anywhere from 15 to upwards to 20-to-1 snowfall ratios, and that's why they've upped the ante on the snowfall intensity from this storm. So let's check out some of these totals, and I use the Kuchera method because this kind of factors in those higher snowfall totals. Like I mentioned, we could easily get 15 to 20 inch 20-to-1 snowfall ratios. So yeah, we're looking at possibly 5 inches of snow in and around the Virginia Beach area, 3 inches into DC, go back into Harrisburg, about 2 to 3 inches. Not much in, say, Pittsburgh from this particular event. But as we get up the coast here, going into Delaware, going into Dover here, almost a foot of snow. Back into Bridgeton, a foot of snow. Dexter Hill, about 9 inches. Back to Baltimore, around 3 inches. So it's more like a coastal event. You start getting to these interior regions. That's why they've got more of those winter weather advisories in place of this 1 to 4 inches. But where you got the winter storm watches, and especially where the blizzard conditions are going to be taking place, that's where you can be starting to see some significant totals. Philly back into about 9 inches of snow. Toms River 14 inches. Long Branch 13. Getting into New York City around 11, possibly a foot of snow. Back to Scranton, more inland, about 2 inches. That's all you get out of this deal. But yeah, as this thing really starts to bottom out along the Cape here, that's where we could be picking up some of these more significant snowfall totals. Hartford back to 18 inches. Norwich, now we're talking to the 2 feet category. And going into Providence, 26 inches of snowfall, guys. I mean, some of these areas like Boston, if they hit 30 inches, that would be an historic event all time. The all-time greatest is 27 inches. So I think that is on the table with this particular setup. And where I mentioned that, where that deformation zone sets up, yeah, it is not out of the question. In this type of atmosphere, with the isolated banding, we could be looking at upwards to isolated areas, 30 to 40 inches of snow. That is the capability that's on the table with this particular snowfall event, with those 3 to 5 inch per hour snowfall rates lasting at least 8-9 hours. So do the math on that. 4 inches per hour times 9 hours, that's 36 inches of snow right there, right? So yeah, this is why this is an historic event. And as we continue to move up the coast back into Manchester, 21 inches of snow. Portland, 21 inches. Going into Bangor, about 22 inches. So these are some really impressive totals, upwards to 2 feet. Going into places into Caribou, So yeah, and this doesn't really wind down until, you know, getting back into Sunday morning. So for the rest of the country, let's highlight today. So because all the action is really off the East Coast this weekend, so that's where the main, it takes all this energy and forces it off the East Coast. For the rest of the country, we've got a lot of high pressure, right? It's high and dry. It's sunny in a lot of these places around the country. There's no precipitation, so you're just enjoying the nice weather you have today. And then really tomorrow, it's pretty nice for a good chunk of the country. All the action will be off the East Coast with that historic blizzard. But now we're starting to eye just the beginning stages of our next event for next week. So we start to see some rain showers start to move back in into places into Washington again. And then we'll start creeping in some of the colder temperatures back into the Pacific Northwest as we get into next week. So, but yeah, as we get into that Sunday time frame, that system just gets a little bit closer off the Pacific Northwest. Now we're talking some sporadic snow showers in and around the Washington area, going back into Oregon. It could change to all snow as we get back into Idaho and then back into Montana again, where it's starting to be a little bit colder, where it's going to be snowing again. And that's going to be the beginning stages of our next setup in our snowstorm. And by Sunday, we're going to be watching this other feature down here to the South Texas here, bringing some showers and storms along southwest Texas here. But as we get into Monday time frame, let's highlight the temperatures for a good chunk of the country. This is still plenty warm. You're still dealing with that, you know, well above average temperature anomalies that you're going to be experiencing the next couple of days, you know, waiting for that Arctic front. So here's the setup to end January. So you see the beginning stages of some of those colder anomalies pushing in from British Columbia here in Western Canada. That will eventually start to push in into the Pacific Northwest, but it really starts to dive back as we get into Wednesday afternoon. Now look at the anomalies with the graph at the bottom of the screen here. Now we're talking those 20 and 30 below average temperature anomalies. So this is true Arctic air, and it's going to make a push in a beeline south. So it gets very active next week, with those well above average temperatures still holding on in much of Texas and much of the southern states, as we're waiting for this Arctic air going to be plunging southward. And then by Thursday, it really intensifies and makes a beeline south. Now we're talking, it gets into Texas with those, you know, 20 and 30 degree below average temperature anomalies. So we'll be fine tuning this event because there's a lot of weather to talk about next week. But this is the setup that we have with another Arctic blast and the snow to follow. So yeah, by the time we get into Friday, it makes it all the way down into the Rio Grande Valley. And now we're talking the snow will be setting up in the midsection of the country and then moving off into the east, with much of the country now experiencing those well below average temperature anomalies. So let's highlight the overall surface map back into Monday. So we got those plenty warm temperatures, right? So we have a disturbance that's coming in into Texas that's going to bring some rain showers. It may reach the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're probably going to be on the edge of this system, but mainly it's going to be into central Texas and southern Texas as we're looking to the north of that new Arctic air. Much of the country is well above average, but we're starting to get cold enough in Western Canada again, where snow is going to be starting to fly, and that will feed into portions of Montana as we get into the day on Monday. But it really starts to get its act together with that Arctic air continuing to plunge southward. Look at that 1053 millibar Arctic high pressure. That's an indication that is some true Arctic air back behind it with a major push southward. And we got snow flying into the midsection of the country. And we could be looking at an icy setup starting to take shape in and around Kansas, going back into Missouri here by the time we get into that Wednesday afternoon time frame. And as this continues to plunge southward, like I mentioned, we'll fine tune this event as we get closer to this event. This is about 6 days out now, so obviously this will change, but it looks like more indications this Arctic air for sure is going to be coming. Just the timing of the trough and then timing of the system, how far south it's able to reach into Texas. But yeah, we could be looking at some of this, kind of a watch zone between Wednesday getting into Thursday, where we could be seeing some snow and ice starting to set up in portions of Texas. And this will continue into Missouri, into Illinois, going into portions of Ohio here with our next snowstorm. And this, as we continue the view, we still got that Arctic air plunging southward. And then we'll be talking about another setup for the mid-Atlantic states and the Ohio Valley and the Northeast by the time we get into next Friday time frame. So as you can see, it's really active next week, but there's not much happening going on for the rest of the country for the next couple of days. All the actions along the East Coast, and I'll be talking about this event all day tomorrow. I'll be doing live coverage starting about 6 o'clock in the morning and really lasting almost all day long with extensive coverage to keep you, what's to come with this historic snowfall event. So, hey, man, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch me in the next update where I protect you before and after storm.